Setting up
We
your
are
custom.
live.
Excuse me. And I think we're cooking. Awesome. Hey folks, good morning. Welcome to Phoenix Business Exchange, the late edition. And hey, how goes your day? We are having a fantastic Thursday. It's sunny outside, a little bit cold, something about like -2, -1. But if your plants are covered, you should be safe. Do a quick share of screen to show you what's happening in the Phoenix landscape. That's pbx.ca. So if you're looking on the inside, outside in, come on in and take a gander. And member of the week is Carl Richards. Carl's e-card is right there, and Carl's video is there. Carl does podcasts. So he either trains you up so you can do your own podcast, or he can manage the production of the podcast for you. We have several links here that you can click into and get into our Zoom chat or into our Zoom call. Bell's Corners is Monday mornings at 8 to 9 Eastern. Next week, by the way, there are no Zoom sessions because it is Thanksgiving, so do not show up. It'll be rather lonely. Wednesday morning, East End group and South End group, which is this one. Come on in, click here, and we'll have a chat. Thursday afternoon, 1 to 2 at midday. That's available also. Tony hosts that. The next after hours group is November 4th at 7 p.m. And eventually that will shift to the last Tuesday of the month. But right now, it's first Tuesday of the month from 7 p.m. and on. Penny Lee's hosting that. And it's about staying on your objectives. East Trade Winds meets every Tuesday, 8 to 9. We are meeting next week, by the way. Facebook Live Meditation with Tony. That is tomorrow at 1:30. Sound Bathing, that is October 29th at 7 p.m. with Tony again. And apparently he's got Dance and Movement is Medicine with Nia classes, and that is, you click there, you get the available schedules either in person or online. Friends Friday Potluck, that's October 10th. That's Friday at 6:30. Not an online event, an in-person event. Bring food. South End is meeting instead of on, that's a Thursday, October 23rd, 7:30, in person and online. In person is at River Lounge. QR directory. If you're trying to find somebody, let's say Norm or Q, click there, and their contact details will be findable. You want to apply to be a member and be part of this group and part of this group or the other three groups. Come on in, hit apply. There are some limitations, but the marketing is great. So it's your marketing bang for buck thing, and also community. The QR codes are available and that identify you for e-card purposes. And speaking of e-cards, 3,134 times people have tracked one of us down to connect with us and using the e-card platform. $4.9 million worth of business since 2016 between members alone. $350 worth of transactions have happened year to date. Quick note, if you've done any business with other folks this year, send the stats to Tony. And I'm going to stop share, and Norm Boyer is going to give us some words of wisdom. Norm, over to you, sir.
Well, unfortunately, my word of wisdoms are for Apple users. So Apple in Bayshore is giving seminars on your iPhones and your iPads. I'm registered for improving shots in your camera, how to use your Apple camera better. And then there's another seminar I'm attending about Apple Intelligence, which is their version of AI. So if you have an Apple phone, you can get some further instructions from Bayshore. If you don't have an Apple phone, go buy one. I use my Apple phone a lot because when we were quoting for a basement, I'd take pictures of the stairs, right? So I can calculate how much we can do, how much material we need to do the stairs. And I took pictures of a deck, which we decided was beyond our pay grade, but we'll refer to a friend. So the thing is, not only should you do your job, but you should have a list of people that you can refer, right? So people rely on you to, oh, like I know Sam knows somebody who does things in the automotive industry that he doesn't do, so he refers to. So that's kind of the same philosophy we have. You give me business, I'll give you business. So that's your tip. Make sure you have your list of useful people to know so you can pass on to somebody else if you can't do the particular job that they want. So that's it for this morning. Well, look to increase your education on your phone, increase your list of people that you can refer.
Norm, thank you so much. And folks, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to share the LinkedIn Live post. So post your contact details in there also. Promos, anything you want to highlight, it's free. And it's part of the social media platform that is going out there. So we'll do a round robin of, hey, what are you doing? What's up with your life? And Q, and then Norm. Q, uh, what's happening? Any BAMs or referrals this week?
Good morning, Bernie. Everyone can hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Yep. Yep.
So my name is Q, and I am your go-to insurance lady of the group, and I help people protect themselves and their loved one financially in the times of needs. So if you ever wonder how much insurance coverage you need, or if you have enough to ensure that your family have the same lifestyle, and that means having the same amount of money coming in, whether you're there or not, please reach out to me and I can do an assessment for you. You can definitely protect your money financially through the use of life, critical illness, and disability insurance. Q from World Financial Group, providing you with financial peace of mind when you need it most. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you know anybody that is in the water pump services, have them reach out to Penny Lee because we have need of the services inside the space. Norm and then Sam. Yeah, go ahead, Norm.
Norm Boyer from Boyer Boys Home Maintenance and Repair. We tend to fix what the husband tried to fix, right? And then the worst thing for us is YouTube, because YouTube tells people how to fix something. And when we look at a YouTube, we can tell whether that's a good idea, what they wanted to do. So unfortunately, with the homeowners, they don't often know what's a good idea and what's a bad idea. For instance, we had a realtor tell the customer, take these 50 pictures in your hall, take them off, and then we'll put a couple of really nice landscapes up there. And the customer called us, and then he'd taken all the pictures out and filled all the holes. And my son said, who told you to fill the holes like this? As well, we saw it on YouTube. Well, did they say anything about paintable caulking? No, so they put non-paintable caulking, fill the holes, not paintable caulking, you know, but so what would have been a 1-day job is now a 3-day job. Right. So that's the thing that we do, we fix what you shouldn't have done. Right. So that's especially is fixing decks. We looked at a deck yesterday. It was beyond our pay grade. There was too much rot, so we have a bigger contractor which will look at that. The other specialty that we're going into the winter time is flooring, specifically for basements. So we have a flooring product, a 1/4-inch vinyl product that we use specifically for basements, which means we don't have to put a subfloor in it. Anyway, if you know anybody that needs their basement finished or the wood taken out because they put wood in below grade, which they shouldn't have done, Boyer Boys Home Maintenance Repair, and the honeydew list, we get it done as we fix your home.
Norma, thank you so much. The other thing we're looking for are disc jockey services. Not the jockey, just the disc jockey. So anybody's got a rave coming up, have them come on and reach out to Penny Lee. Not necessarily for the rave, but for the disc jockey services. Sam, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Sam Stirs, ConnectedCars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat. Dash camera is my main thing, and Q can verify that I do that because I put one in her vehicle, and just lately I put one in her husband's brand new vehicle. So if you need a referral, by all means, check with Q. Besides that, I do minor repairs, oil changes, brake jobs, things like that. Wheel bearings. Let's see what else. Tie rod ends. You name it. I probably do it. Just not major engine work. As Norm mentioned, I do referrals to things that I can't do. I do have several places around town that I personally have taken my vehicle to, so I can actually refer them to you. For instance, welding. I don't do welding. And I do have people that I trust to do that, and I can refer you to that if it's necessary. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, yes, car cleaning. That's one thing I was talking about this week. That's quickly coming to a close. As you probably noticed, it's a little frosty out there this morning. I don't do car cleaning in the wintertime. Why? Because, well, I shampoo the carpets and the seats, and I don't want your cars to end up getting moldy and have that freeze up in your car. So I don't do car cleaning in the wintertime. But if you're interested, probably have a week or two left of doing that. So if your car's a mess, give me a call. Let's see here. BAMS wise. Yes, I finished Bernie's wife's vehicle there. The inner fender wall that I didn't like the one that was shipped to me originally. Got a replacement for that and finished that off last weekend. So that's all done up. So car looks especially nice ready for this winter. That's it for me. Sam Stewart, ConnectedCars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a vehicle and lots more.
Sam, thank you so much. Another quick item highlight. If you can't make a meeting, but you need someone to stand in and kind of do your spiel, do your talk, Mike Wazowski is available, and if the schedules align, he will come on in. And Tony, other than going down the highway, it almost sounds like a Red Rider song. What up?
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm just on my way to an appointment, and I had to be there for right after the meeting and going through traffic. This was the best way to do it. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Tony Jennis from Higher Self. Yesterday was a really busy day for emails and for clients coming in and so on. And almost all of them that came to this last sound bath commented about it. One lady, she says she hurt her foot a year ago. Something fell on her foot while she was moving some things in storage a year ago, and she's been limping ever since. Went to doctors, chiropractors, and various people, and just couldn't get this pain out of her foot. She came to the sound bath, and she says, about halfway through, I just felt this energy coming out of my feet. When I stood up, the pain was gone. I said, wow, that's great. On the same day, had another person that had a back problem, and they had it for about 6 months, pulled a muscle, I guess, shoveling when in the last snowstorm or whatever we had. And he says, I've been in excruciating pain since then. And I was online when that happened, and my wife actually told me to be on with her with some resistance, but I says, okay. And all I did was listen. I didn't have to do anything. I'm not a great meditator sort of thing, but I just listened to the whole show. Afterwards, my back was like normal. So whatever energy is going through me, going through to the people, this is what these sound bats do with the combination of crystal bowls, tuning forks, gongs, and the various energies that are flowing through. People are just having some amazing results. To be honest, I'm just guided to do what I do, so it's really not me. I'm just sort of the tool. I'm sort of the cordless drill sort of thing, but the work is really done on the outside. And this is what is just amazing. If you know somebody that is going through some stuff, have them come to the next sound bath. We're going to be talking about sovereignty, to be able to be all on your own. In other words, you have this self-unity involved. Being sovereign. The only way we can have a sovereign nation is if we work on it ourselves right now. So if you know somebody, definitely let them know about it. It's on October the 29th, Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's like $25. and it's anywhere in the world. So we had about roughly 20 people online last time. My goal is to get 30 to 40 people on it, but I've got a campaign coming up where we're going to really be able to amp it up, and I want to get into the hundreds or even the thousands of people online, because then we could reach people from all around the world. And that's just a good thing, to be able to stay in your home and hear the various frequencies. And you come with a question, whatever the question is, you want an answer for. And then usually by the end of it, you'll have an answer, because you have the answer inside of you. That's why we call it a reading, because we're reading that energy from you. So Tony Jennings from Higher Self, we are here to raise your spirits.
Tony,
Yeah, I
thank you
had a
so
whole
much.
bunch of people that did business with Susan McGarry, did business with Josh, ongoing business with Eric Senego, our accountant. Then we had a BAM with Penny Lee, Dwight from the Taste Sweet Life catering. Yeah, so we had a busy week, so it was good. Hey, thanks, Bernie.
Tony, thank you so much. And just to highlight, if you have an event that's coming up and you want the information shared in the Phoenix Business Exchange general social media content or space, get a hold of Kat. Send her a photo, send her a link, whether you're hosting the event or you're part of the event, or you think it's an event that would be good to share with the community. Get a hold of Kat. For myself, Bernie from Creative Insight, we connect people. Well, that's the long and the short of it. Knack for Business podcast is part of the journey, and we're almost 400 podcasts recorded and pushing out podcast. Today is, I think, podcast 145 from season 3. It feels like 345 because as it comes in the whole total, it's cooking. And a couple other things I just want to quickly mention. I have my co-host who's got a book out there, and it's Do You Have a Mug in Hand? He's got a new book that's been launched. It's called Freshly Brewed Coaching, available. The book's, I think, $25 or $30. And yeah, and it's a local author and you're supporting a local business. I'm going to stop talking because you know what? Our main act, our main stage, the light's over onto Kelly. Kelly, what up?
What up, Buttercup? Good morning, sunshines. So I'll do my quick little elevator pitch just to give everyone context before I start speaking, to help people understand who I am and where I'm coming from. So basically, I'm your local real estate agent. I design real estate experiences strategically and personally. Basically, my clients come from all walks of life. We've got first-time buyers, investors, families, professionals. They all share one thing in common. Their values are trust, transparency, and everyone has a desire to be truly cared for. So my approach is simple. It's luxury and execution, but humanity at its core. I basically blend data-driven strategy with up to the minute, up to the as relevant information as possible. I blend that with concierge level service, tailoring your experience every step of the way. So pricing, negotiation, closing. This is where I've got my data-driven strategy. Then there's the human part as well. So whether you're buying in Ottawa, I operate all the way to Toronto. My goal is very simple: to deliver very clear, confident, and cost-saving experiences that help people feel like people during the real estate process. It's about the whole family, the whole picture, not just the property. So that's me in a nutshell. Help, I'm in a nutshell. Sorry, I had to do a little Austin Powers throwback there. So today, thank you for inviting me to speak. I gave it a lot of reflection from when Kat asked me to come and do the talk today. And I realized that there was a bit of a theme happening in my interactions with some of my clients. And upon reflection, I realized that just by changing this one nuance, this one element, I was able to deliver a much higher quality, much more personalized and meaningful process to my clients. It's about listening. So Tony referenced it today. It was a great segue as he was speaking about listening to his client and just kind of hearing what's going on with them. There's a difference between listening and hearing. We know this. So I won't get too basic about the process, but I will share some personal experiences. We've all had that moment where we think we're listening, we're nodding and smiling and even taking notes, but our focus is somewhat split. We're somewhere different, we're somewhere else. We're either on our stomach or thinking about another interaction or planning ahead. There's nothing wrong with that, but in business, that's a gap. Because what this is creating is a divide between hearing and understanding, and it can cost us. It can cost us a sale, it can cost us a client. Worst case scenario, it can cost us the client's trust, and that's someone who's gone forever, and that's someone who we've let down. We never want that to happen. That is an unacceptable outcome. So basically, it comes down to presence. One client in particular who I'm going to tell you about taught me the difference between listening, metabolizing the information, list, and going into different synapses in my mind, to becoming present and actually listening. A lot of us think that we're listening well. Of course, we want that to be one of our supreme qualities because we're engaged, we care, we're involved in the process, and we're really passionate about what we do. But caring is not the same as listening. A lot of people fall into what's called, and I researched this because I was like, there's got to be a term for it. It's called the competence illusion. We equate hearing with understanding, and we're focusing on problem solving rather than absorbing. The difference is the attentiveness. So in reality, when we're actively listening, it requires us to actually exert mental effort in a different way. We have to slow down, we have to stay curious, and we have to create enough space for the entire message to come through. The message isn't just verbal. The message is also behavioral, emotional, and energetic as well. We can tell when someone's upset and trying to keep it down, for example. Those are valuable data points. Those are really important pieces of information for us. It can be hard to come to terms with the fact that maybe you're not listening incredibly well. That's okay. It's humbling, but it gives us an opportunity to improve ourselves and to really broaden our skill set to deliver the best of the best. So basically, here's the quick little story. A few years ago, I think it was actually just last year, I was working with a buyer who her husband and she received notice that their lease, basically they got an eviction notice. Their landlord was selling and they had to get out. So she reached out to me in a bit of a panic, and they were trying to be cool about it, but I could tell immediately that there's a great level of distress because their entire world is about to be turned upside down in a matter of 2 months. So we worked on your key points. What do you want? What do you need? And we worked on that list. I pulled up comparables. I had a listing showing tour ready. We lined up the showings and things were checking every box logically. But as we were touring, there was something off. Something wasn't fitting and I didn't know what. So of course I started blaming myself. Maybe I'm not getting these right. Go back to the checklist, and I'm trying to cross-check my own work. It's good work. So what's going on? I realized the big difference between these clients and other clients was their energy. With each suite we visited, it seemed like her words were, "It's not as nice as the place we're in now, but it's great. Oh yeah, I like this, but," and there was a lot of compromise in her framing of the experience. And I realized it's not the places, it's actually the experience itself that she's struggling with. So I had to change the questions. The questions had to shift from becoming, do you like this counter? Look at the size of this fridge, look at the layout of this space, look at your view, to something different. I had to start digging deeper because I had to listen more efficiently and more effectively. I had to start asking, what is it about your current neighborhood that feels good to you? What is it, rather than what's wrong with this place, is what's right with where you're at? I had to change the perspective. That changed everything. The conversation went from discussions about square footage to the feeling of security, the feeling of familiarity, from location to a feeling of belonging. By listening differently, I'm now getting really important information. She does not want to leave her neighborhood. In fact, I went deeper with her and discovered she doesn't even want to leave her building. So I had to get creative. With that information, I contacted a mortgage specialist. We had her financing within a week. They had everything they needed to buy. When I checked their building, there were some suites that were available for lease, but based on their financials, they could actually buy. And it just occurred to me, oh my goodness, they're concerned about their future safety. They're concerned about the security. They were jarred by the eviction notice. If they buy in this building, they will never have to feel that way again. This will solve the problem. And I only arrived at it because I was listening on a deeper level. Fast forward, happy ending. They were pre-qualified. They were qualified for a great suite. Success. We ended up buying it. Their move was really easy. Just push an elevator button and up a few floors. And they are so happy with where they're at in their new home. They could not be happier. And we got it at a great price because I'm a bit of a bulldog. So basically, listening isn't a passive thing. Listening isn't about ticking off boxes. It's not just about lists. It's about taking a moment to slow down, pause, and listening to the in-between messages. These are the intangible, non-definable messages and signals that we're receiving from the people with whom we're interacting. And this is what's going to set us apart. How do I know if I'm not listening? I'm preparing my response before they've even finished their sentence. I'm focused on delivering rather than understanding. And I'm solving problems faster than I'm absorbing their information. So true listening requires you to get grounded for a moment, slow it down, but in the end, it speeds up the whole process. So it might feel agonizing rather, to slow down in the moment, but on a macro level, it's actually going to help you become more efficient and help you achieve the mutual goals that you have with your clients faster. So this applies to any service provider. This applies to an insurance agent. This applies to automotive industry. This applies to handy people as well. Every single industry where we are interacting with clients, we can always look at how to improve our active listening. It's not just about here. It's not just about your ears or your head. It's about the entire body. It's about looking at your client, taking a moment, pausing, and letting the information influence you, influence your perspective, and influence your thought process. So yeah, basically, I'll wrap it up with that very shortly. It's not just about missing facts. It's also missing opportunities, right? If we're not really, really listening to what our clients need, and if we're not really absorbing, the worst possible consequence is an erosion of trust. So if they can tell that we're not listening, they're feeling dismissed and they disengage. Another potential damage to ineffective listening is reputational damage. I'm sure that we've all dealt with an expert who will absolutely remember every single word that we say and challenge us in real time, saying, but I thought you said, and didn't you tell me that this instead of that? And if we're only half listening, they're right. They're sharing information with us. We are sharing information with them, but we're not tracking what's actually being said. So we don't want to give our clients an opportunity to doubt us, and we don't want to give them an opportunity to really to feel as though their presence, their word, and their messages aren't important. So that's about it. The universal takeaway here is that listening is a bridge between what people say and what people mean. So my challenge for you this week, if you choose to accept, is in your next conversation, when you feel the urge to reply, pause. Just pause for one extra beat, listen to the words, and then listen to the feeling, look at the emotions, look at the body language, and try to hear in a different way, because that's where the truth lies, and the truth will always point us in the right direction.
Kelly, thank you so much. Are there any questions for Kelly? So, Kelly, would it
I have
be
a
safe
question.
to... Oh, Sam, go for it.
Go ahead, Sam.
What were you talking about?
It was
Oh,
nothing.
Sam.
Nothing.
Oh, Uh,
I had to
Am I
do that.
talking?
Sorry.
Sorry, was I just
Oh.
talking? Oh,
Oh,
oh, Sam.
just kidding, just kidding. I agree 100%.
well done.
Yeah, yeah. I have a quick comment, but that is so true. Kelly, when we hear of somebody's strife and there's strife and there's different stuff coming up, right away we get into, oh, I have a solution for this. So we're thinking of possible options that they could do, and we're just waiting for them to stop talking so we could talk.
Correct.
That's
In the
that
real
is
estate
so.
industry, we have a phrase, please don't be offended. We say buyers are liars. Not because they're withholding information or telling us mistruths, it's because they actually don't know what they want yet. So when they tell you,
Yeah.
I want a condo with a western view so I can see the sunset. And then you take them to exactly what they wanted and you time it just right so that the sun is setting. And this happened with my most recent buyer. The sun is setting. It is a beautiful scene, but they're too hot. I can't live like this. It's too hot. So
Oh, wow. That's a
by
good idea.
listening to them, yes, and understanding that most people think that they know what they want, but on average, the amount of, well, first of all, people aren't exposed to what we're exposed in our professions. So, Q, for example, in insurance, you understand and you know what all of the options are, but your clients don't. So they think that they want something super cheap and cheerful, but after a little bit more digging, you realize, well, there's an insurance policy that will be a little bit more expensive, but it's actually going to provide them with a lot more protection or a lot more ability to change the terms and conditions. Maybe that's what they actually want a little bit instead, because people don't fully understand in our specialized profession what all of the possibilities and options are. So by listening at a deeper level, we can interpret the information that they're giving us, and that's where our specialty gets to really shine. We can really step forward and say, look, I don't know if you were aware of this, but I have something really exciting that I think you might like because we've been listening.
I remember one story from Norm a number of months ago where he was told that in ordering some of the windows, and I remember this because it actually happened to me. He says the customer wanted these grills inside the window. Those squares that they're in the windows. They have the extra grills and so on. And so they wanted to pay extra for this. And so Norm took out a masking tape and started taping the window to basically show what it would be looking like once they got this grill in. And he says, "What do you think now?" He says, "I don't like it."
Yep.
So you don't want the grill. In other words, showing a customer what they want, firsthand, might not be really what they want. So you're right. They don't always know what they want.
And when you're dealing with couples, you do a lot of marriage counseling.
uh,
What she's trying to say, what she said is she likes this particular door. You're not listening.
Norm, maybe next week you can do a talk on marriage counseling as a service professional because it happens all the time.
I mean, you're doing it too, because when you're dealing with a couple, he wants something in the house and she wants something in the house. So, it's easy to find a house that the wife likes. It's easy to find a house that the husband likes. The trick is find one they both like. So that's with
And it
any
gets
profession.
complicated when parents are involved in the process as well. If we're dealing with younger couples who are getting financing from mom and dad, and then they happen to bring Uncle Phil, who is also a contractor in his spare time, that's when it
Yeah,
gets very
weekend. Yeah.
Or if Italian, when I was a realtor, you would have the young couple and both sets of parents on the showing when you're showing.
Yes. Yep. That's always fun.
It still happen?
Oh, yes. I had a group of clients who were looking at doing fractional ownership, and it was 4 young women plus their moms. So
Oh.
that became 8 people that I was interacting with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the decision making on that process was very difficult. It took a lot of time and energy, and I was getting a lot of private emails from all of the parties telling, and it turned out that there was actually a much more complicated relationship story with these clients than it had initially seemed. The solution in this case was actually dissuading them from buying, and encouraging them to try living together for a couple of years, seeing how that works out, and then we can talk about buying. Because, of course, I didn't say anything, and they shall remain nameless, but the internal relationship dynamics, what I was hearing with my deeper listening and understanding was that the deeper relationship dynamics were a little bit fraught. There was a lot of history between the moms, and it was influencing the actual younger clients, the purchasers. So it just seemed like a more prudent approach for them to type trial living together first and seeing how those dynamics worked out before everyone was locked into a mortgage together and fractional ownership, which can get very complicated. So I feel like I made the right call in that case, and I haven't heard anything from them yet. So I feel like it's going well. Maybe next year they'll buy.
Smart
Yeah,
move,
that's
though.
wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
Smart
I
move
spent a
having
lot of time going to Hogsback Falls and decompressing because it was intense. Yeah, I recall that as well. That's a different story for a different day, but active listening and understanding the messaging behind the words was very important. In this case, it wasn't what they had written. It was the very fact that several of them were emailing me independently and telling me things that I just have to know about the other mom. Okay.
Oh, dear God.
So there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of signaling happening that there is a degree of discomfort. That was the deeper listening. That was the indication of what I was receiving from what was actually occurring, because buyers are liars and they don't actually know, and it's not their fault. But it takes some digging and investigative work.
So I could go back to a bit of the education again, which is you got to get people to make a whole bunch of small decisions. You don't ask them to make them to do a big decision, but like when I was, especially, I was really good at selling doors when I was doing windows and doors full time with the company. But the biggest thing was my associates didn't like to sell doors. They didn't mind windows, but they didn't like doors because there were so many decisions to be made. But you get them to choose colors, you get them to choose the hardware, you get them to choose the type of glass. And then once you have all the the little decisions made, the big decision is whether they're going to buy it or not happens. So that happens in any profession where, unless you get all the answers to a lot of the small questions, you can't get an end product, which is a sale of a house or sale of snow tires or, sale of insurance. You got to answer all those little questions, right?
Yeah.
And then
Maybe
and
the
then you
next
get
talk will be how to encourage people to make the final decision after all of the research and all of the fact finding. Maybe that'll be the next topic. How do you encourage your clients to decide? It's difficult.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to have a projector on my desk that would project what was on my computer screen. And when they were talking about doors, right, I would say, okay, do you want it inside color? Do you want outside? Yes. And then I would put the price in. And they could see on the screen on the wall that painting the door costs $500. What hardware do you want? Right. And so they put the hardware and the price went up, and that was giving a total. And I remember a customer saying, well, you're more expensive than the last guy we did, but he just gave us on the back of a business card, here's what your door will cost. And you're telling us exactly what we're getting. So clearly I wasn't giving them information other people weren't giving. So that happens in any profession. You clearly communicate what's happening. And it was a screen, the projector projecting what was happening on what they wanted. So that's now we use computer screens. You can get people to look at your computer screen and maybe compare two houses or compare two different types of snow tires, right? So that's another part of the education. Find out what they need and show them what you're giving them.
Yeah,
Tony?
the other thing I'm seeing here, Norm and Kelly, is that we're almost flipping this around to listening, but we're listening, but it's almost like the client has to listen too. So when we're talking, we have to talk the way the client will listen to what we're saying. So we're flipping it around a little bit. So I
Well,
like the fact that we're making small decisions, because that's the way they like to listen. They don't want to make the big decision first. Make the little ones first, and then it's almost that this is the way it's more palatable for them. And that's the way they like to listen to whatever the decision they're going to make. Because in the end, they want to be able to say that I made the decision, not I was forced into it.
Mm-hmm.
well, the customer will sometimes give you information. I went to an appointment for doors, and the customer answers the door. He answers the door, and the Scottish accent is so thick you would have thought he got off the boat 2 weeks ago, but he'd been in Canada for 15 years. And he says, I'll be wanting a door and two side lights. She'd be wanting a double door. You talk her into a door and two side lights, you're walking out here with an order tonight. So he wanted me to convince the wife to go with a door and two side lights, which did happen, but that's a story about why that happened and why she convinced him to spend more money than he wanted. But everyone is a story. But it's,
Tony's point.
sometimes like he said, I want a door, two side lights. So he said, you're not talking, basically, well, the wife's not this, you're not talking to me, you're talking to my wife. This is what I want. So it was the best solution for them anyway, rather than the double door, because there's issues with double doors, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
Your ethics maintained, stayed intact, which is great.
Yeah.
Just a comment on what Tony was sharing and Norm as well about relaying information to our clients. This is a different subject, but I'm glad that we're evolving to it. It's something that I have experienced and practiced. It's a practice. It does not come quickly, and it does not. This is literally decades of rehearsing, is patient repetition. There was a time earlier in my careers, where I would feel frustrated because I've already told you this. I've already said this. Haven't I? I told you and I emailed. So remember when I told you that? And I could probably safely say that due to the feelings and sensations that I was feeling about not being listened to myself, that my response to my clients probably wasn't the kindest or the most grounded or patient or understanding. Over time, with lots of experience, patient repetition. Some people need to hear the same thing 20 different times in 5 different ways. And it's
So
okay.
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
So true.
and confirming comprehension, that's something that I've done as an active listener. I've reframed it and I've said, literally, I'm going to repeat back to you, but I'd like you to confirm if I'm understanding correctly, because these conversations are very important. So am I understanding you? Just to be really clear, for example, to take your example, Norm, just to be clear, before we go into the room, you're telling me that your preference is this, and maybe your wife has a different preference, and you're hoping that through my analysis, my decision is going to support your preference. Is that correct? Without judgment, just verifying, am I on the right track here or not? And by asking those types of questions, you will demonstrably notice that your clients are feeling very empowered and actually heard. They would rather you repeat back something incorrectly, and they have an opportunity to help educate you or adjust your understanding, than have you go based on an assumption of your understanding that is inaccurate. Does that make sense?
I like it. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But your challenge for this week is just to pause and listen a little bit more. We can do the reflecting back next week. No, Norm has no interest. He's out. Hi.
He's listening.
Well, the example that Tony gave about the grill work, right? People think grill work is nice, but when you have, it was specifically for a patio door. And patio doors, you sit in front of the door and you look out and the grills all interfere with the thing. So if they bought it with the grills in, you can't change it. But like I used to keep 1/2 inch medical tape so I could draw grills, put the grills in, and that's it. Do you
Mhm.
really want this? Well, that's easier to get a yes or a no, but once
Perfect
you put it
example,
in,
Norm.
there's
Yeah,
no
that's
changing.
an excellent like it's not just using your words, it's using actions to reflect back your comprehension, saying, do I understand this correctly? This is what you say you want. So this is what I'll mock up for you so you can see how it's actually going to look. And then you can verify. And if the story changes, the story changes. Great. It's better to pivot with new information or clarified information than to proceed and have regret, because regrets are expensive in business. Yeah. Great.
Who's got something else?
Great, Kelly. Thank you very much.
No problem
that's
at
a
all.
good education. Yeah.
Some hard learned experiences for sure. Yeah. So just like a little anecdote, I've just we've got an accepted offer now. I was working with some buyers who were very very controlling and not very open to feedback, and they wanted to do the process their way. And to be perfectly honest, I struggled a little bit because I'm accustomed to people looking to me and saying, can you guide this experience? Can you help me? Rather than what their approach was basically sending, no exaggeration, about 50 listings that they wanted to see, and they wanted to see all of them, and they wanted to analyze it, and they wanted to go and experience the environment. But they said that they were interested in buying. And I thought, I'm not sure. Are you actually interested in buying, or are you interested in exploring? What are we doing here? Turns out that they were actually interested in buying, but they got caught in hyper analysis where they were literally looking. These were condos, so the condo product. They were looking at the taxes, the condo fees, and they were trying to find a way to make sense of exactly what it's going to cost them, which is in and of itself very, very strategic and logical. But until we have an offer that's accepted, we don't know what the price is going to be. And we don't know how that's going to influence the mortgage rate or the mortgage. So I ended up sort of getting to the heart of what they were concerned about, because it was obviously financial, and connecting them with a mortgage agent and saying, look, could you help them build a like an Excel spreadsheet where they can punch in all of the different variables, including the mortgage, at your proposed rate, give or take $5,000, give or take $10,000, and help them analyze exactly what it's going to cost them. And that basically eradicated almost 20% of the 50 listings that they wanted to see, because they realized I was telling them, this is too expensive for your budget. You can't afford this, so let's not go look. But they still wanted to look. And it wasn't until they had an enhanced calculation that they were like, oh, these are too expensive. We shouldn't go look. And I was like, okay, good. Whatever it takes to help frame the process so that they can have a deeper understanding, because my words weren't being heard. They weren't listening, and that's okay. That means that there's an obstacle and there's something blocking them from hearing, and they're engineers and they really needed to rely on that math. So I pulled a favor and I was like, can someone design a calculation for me? Because this is what they need. I got the support I needed from my colleague, and they got the information they needed in order to help guide their process. Thank goodness.
Kelly, do you ever walk away from a client?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kenny Rogers, know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, when to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Kenny knew what he was talking about for sure. There are some I have walked away from a client, but not for reasons like you're not listening to me. This one particular client just gave me the creeps, and I didn't want to be alone in a house with them. So I was like, I think I'm gonna refer you to a different colleague, because I don't want to be in this environment. So there's just something that felt a little bit like dark,
Yeah.
or and I just thought, my safety is the most important thing. So I don't even want to entertain, not to imply that anything would happen, but And then I can redirect my attention elsewhere rather than remaining in an environment that doesn't feel uplifting or feel positive. I could redirect myself to different things and then have someone else take care of this person's needs.
Well, this
Oh,
client
oh.
wanted me to fix his deck, right? And that's not my thing. Windows and doors is my specialty, so I brought my son in and he looked at it and he said, yeah, this is beyond our pay grade, right? So I can refer him to somebody else. And it's a spring project, which is good because most big contractors are booked for 5-6 months ahead if they're good. Right. So, but we're going to get the flooring from them, but we walk away from the job that we know was beyond our pay grade. Right.
Yeah. And I've had commercial clients ask me if I could help them buy like a multi-plaza. And I had someone who wanted to buy something that Canada Centrum. And I was like, the financing that they wanted to do was so complicated, and the length of time that process would take. For me, I operate at a much more immediate speed, and I help my clients get results sooner than later. So I ended up referring that client as well because they were playing a 5-year game, and I just, in the commercial sphere, things are going to change so much over 5 years that I actually didn't think it was a good use of my time to focus a lot of time and research and energy on that particular client. So I invited him to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think Sam has also had this experience where somebody will bring in used tires and want Sam to put it on. And he could see that the tires are not good. It's not good for his safety. And ultimately, Sam's going to be responsible. If he puts something on that's defective or like used, how do you get a good used tire for $25, and that's this one situation that my wife went through where a service call guy had a flat tire and he had to change all fours. So he bought 4 tires at $25 each for $100, and he wanted someone else to put it on, and they said no way, they're not going to touch it because ultimately they're responsible. So you have to sometimes walk away from something like that. But you can just tell by the tone of the person's voice when you're listening to it that if something goes wrong, they're going to throw you under the bus so fast. Oh, this was your fault, and you could just tell. And so sometimes when we can follow our instinct, that's the best. Like in your case, Kelly, you just felt that this wasn't the right fit, and then you just sort of stepped away. And sometimes we have to say no.
Yeah. That will be another talk for another day, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Sam wants to say something.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with Tony just said. It's going to be snow tire season very soon. And invariably, I will get a set of tires somebody will bring to me to put on a car, and I'll look at it and go, your summer tires are better than your winter tires. So I won't be putting these on. I don't recommend it, and I suggest you go get some new tires before winter. So it happens every year because people don't look at them. They out of sight, out of mind, and they don't look at them until they need them, and they'll bring them to me and go, hey, put them on my car, and I go, hey, you don't want these tires on your car.
I don't understand. I've had them for 11 years.
It happens. It's human nature. We tend to be going a lot quicker than we need to be doing, and we expect things to be done instantaneously. Unfortunately, that's the environment we're in these days. And when it comes to safety, people think of that, unfortunately, last instead of first. And it's guys like me that need to bring that to people's attention and say, hey, safety wise, you don't want to put these tires on your car. You want to take them to somebody else if you want to, but I won't be putting them on.
And Sam, that's your integrity, right? That's
your
values.
It's your reputation.
Not only that, it's also your desire to, at the end of the day, I think what we all have in common, everyone who's, maybe not everyone, but this group for sure, is we all genuinely want the best for our clients. We want them to be successful in their goals, maybe through insurance. We want them to have the best doors. We want them to have a safe vehicle. Whatever our physiotherapists, our our tech gurus. We all want to provide something really valuable to help our clients. We have a genuine position of goodwill towards our fellows. And I feel like that combined with good ethics sometimes means we have to turn people away and say, I don't work this way. I will not, I won't be party to this, but all the best of luck. I send you away with happiness. Goodbye.
Well, I think of it I'm somewhat greedy too, because if I send the customer away with these bad tires, they end up in an accident and they die, they're no longer my customer.
Okay. I like the way you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
I like the broad strokes. It might be ever so slightly exaggerated but I see where you're coming from. Always
would-
the
I
bottom
would-
line.
I would send them to my competitors. I knew if the
Yeah.
guy was going to be a hard customer to deal with, a jerk or whatever, and he really, I said, well,
Norm,
you really should get a
stop.
quote from Sears.
Stop. I feel like we're running out of time.
Yeah, we are actually.
Okay.
We're 4 minutes over.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So Kelly, if you run into another person who wants to do commercial real estate, I have a contact, and he's got 36 plus years in the city.
Amazing.
So, and the 5-year, 10-year leases are the norm for business. So,
Yes. Yeah, no,
And-
this guy didn't want to make a move for 5 years. He wanted me to monitor the environment for 5 years before he,
Yeah.
as he
Oh,
investors.
wow.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think this is what I'm gonna do, but I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
yeah,
Wow.
no. So anyhow, if you have someone that
Yes.
wants to do that, I have a good contact, and he knows the
Kelly.
landscape well. Quote for the day: "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living things." That's Freddie Nietzsche, Frederick. If you're going to be, back in the day, but we'll call him Freddie for now.
Perfect.
Thanks a lot, everybody. That's awesome.
Thank
You go
you.
offline and need to talk to Sam.
Okay.
Have a great day, everyone.
Unfortunately, I have to leave in once, so I'm going to make Sam a co-host. That way, when I peel out, you won't drop the signal. And Sam, take care. Have a good chat, guys.
I have to jump to, I'm getting client calls. So ta-ta.
Bye, guys.
Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Bye. And
Who's
sign
awful?
and leave.
So Sam,
Yes.
a friend of mine just wrote off his van, right? So they
Oh.
paid him off for the van. He paid off the loan and he got the balance, but he's got 2 sets of snow tires for Grand Vans, right? Which were stored in my outbuilding. So what's the best way for him to sell those tires or determine whether they're good or?
Well, the best way to sell those tires these days is on Marketplace. It's called Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Young people go there first, unfortunately. I prefer Kijiji, Ottawa, because they sort through they're sorted better. That's probably the information. But either one is free. Cover both is probably what I would recommend. He should, well, if he knows anything about tires, first of all, make sure they're clean. Have them, the rims and everything clean. Then show the tire tread, first of all. And then the most important thing for guys like me who know a little bit about tires is the DOT tag. That tells you when the tires were made. Now, if the tires are over 8 years old, you might want to leave that out. But if they're newer than that, make sure the DOT tag that shows the year the tires were made, make sure that's shown on it. Let's see what else. Have them clean. Make sure you have pictures of the tread.
So somewhere on the tire, there's a year it was made.
Yes. Hang on, I can show you. You got a second? I'll
Yeah.
bring it up.
No.
What?
There's a DOT tag that doesn't show.
Tony's gone.
Okay.
With that fading.
Can you see this?
okay. It says, it was the dot, it says dot, and then,
DOT, and then there's a bunch of numbers, and then right at the end, there's 4 numbers. And the first
Okay.
2 numbers are the week of the year that the tire was made, and the last 2 are the year.
okay, you're too close,
So
back it up again.
Sorry,
So-
it died out.
So that 3511, is that meant that there was,
Yeah, 35th week of 2011. That's what that would say. But
35
those last 4, and the more important part is the last 4 numbers. You need this
Okay.
to see that. All right.
2011?
So that's very important to people that know anything about tires. First, they're going to look at the tread. Then you want to know when the tires are made, because you shouldn't buy tires. Well, shouldn't is the right word. Yeah, that are more than 8 years old, because they start to crack and so on. Not necessarily they will, but then you have to look at them. If they're really old, if they're stored inside, I have personally bought tires that are older than 8 years old, but I knew that they were stored inside and they were not exposed to the UV rays. But a tire that's outside on the car, anything more than 8 years old starts to crack up.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. So we'll see you next Thursday at the River Lounge, I guess.
Yeah, it's in person. I think that one's
Oh,
next week.
not
Yeah,
next Thursday. It's 2 Thursdays from now, right? The
yeah, that's right. Next
23rd?
week we're off. We don't have anything.
Oh, next week we're off? Okay, no
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah,
next
because
week.
of Thanksgiving, there's no meeting.
Okay. And on the 23rd,
So if
it's
he has any more information, just if that guy has any questions, tell him to text me. I can certainly try and I can send him the information. In fact, speaking of that, just yesterday I bought a set of tires for my son's truck. I took advantage of that DOT tag. In fact, on the deal, this guy had a set of tires he's put up for sale for a truck F-150, so they're big tires, and he wanted $490 for them. And he's in Quebec, so he's a little bit out of the way, but the price was certainly right. And then I looked at the tires, and the tread looked good. And he said they were brand new. This is what the ad said, and then I'll teach you a little bit something. The ad said they were brand new, but you looked at the tires on the picture, there's stones in the tires, and like they obviously aren't brand new. But his words said brand new. So most people get turned off by that and go, "Oh, this guy's scamming me," right? So I looked at the tread, really close, and I went, "No, these tires look really, really new. The little nubs, the little rubber pieces that stick out when you first buy a tire." Anyway, there's a name for them. I've forgotten the name. Anyway, long story short is I could tell that they were fairly new tires. Anyway, I sent the message back to him on Marketplace, and I said, "Can you send me a picture of the DOT tag?" So he sends back a picture of the DOT tag, but it's not the right one. On one side of the Michelin tires, it doesn't show the information I wanted. I said, no, it's on the other side of the tire. Can you send me that picture? He sends me that picture 5 minutes later. It's 2025. They were built this year. So I went, holy Jesus, they are brand new tires. So I write him back. I said, where can we meet? He says, well, I'm in Val-de-Mont is where he was. You know where Val-de-Mont is? Anyway, it's a little bit north of Gatineau. So I said, can we meet someplace closer, if possible? He says, well, I can meet you at the ferry terminal there at Cumberland Ferry. You go across to, used to be the Thurso plant there. I can't remember the name of the other side, but anyway. And I said, sure. So it takes me like 5 minutes here. Well, not 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get to the ferry terminal, went across. And I met him there. Then story short, he's got a brand new F-150 Lightning that he wanted to put these off-road tires, these aggressive tires on, and they were on the truck. And these are the tires that came on the truck that he just bought about 6 months ago. So I look at the tires, I go, I'll give you 400 for them. And he goes, no, he says, they're worth more than that. I said, okay, 450. He took 450. These tires are brand new. These tires are $350 a piece with tax each. So these tires are at least worth $300 a piece. I got them for $450 for the set, all 4 of them. So that I took advantage of the fact that he didn't know what a DOT tag was. So and his words on his ad didn't make sense. So if you know a little bit about about tires, you can get a hell of a deal, which I just got for my son because those tires would cost him $1,000 on the car. So
Well, I learned something. I know what a DOT tag is now. Right?
yeah, very important. In fact, I've helped people because people will sell, even the I'll say dealer's right word, but tire places will sell a tire that are a year old and say they're brand new. Well, they haven't been on a car, but they're not brand new. If you're buying tires, you should always look at that DOT tag and look at the last two numbers because if it says 2024, they may have never been on a car, but they've sat in a warehouse for a year. You should not pay full price for those tires. They may not have been on a car yet, but they are a year old. So, you should get at least a 10% discount on those tires. At least.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta go calculate the price of some flooring, so we'll let you go.
Okay. I got a customer coming at 10 o'clock with his BMW.